Married at First Sight Season 18's David Trimble isn't the good guy he said he was all season long, leaving many curious if he's a series villain. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching for more details. Married at First Sight Season 18's David Trimble has been claiming he's a good guy all season long, but after owning up to the cheating scandal of the season, it's clear he's not at all who he said he was. Married at First Sight Season 18 has been a wild ride for the entire cast, but especially for David and his MFS bride Michelle Tomlin. David's marriage to Michelle has been difficult, and his inability to account for his time has been a suspicious storyline this season. While Michelle's been viewed as a villain, David's behavior's proven it's really him. Throughout Married at First Sight Season 18, David's involvement in the cheating scandal has consistently made it more difficult to trust him or his assertions about himself. David's behavior has been difficult throughout the season, but in the early moments of his time on MFS Season 18, it felt like he was able to explain away any discrepancies that came up about his time away from Michelle or his overall behavior. After learning about the cheating scandal and coming to understand that David wasn't telling the truth, I'm overwhelmed by the fact that he claimed to be a good guy. David's been exposed to be part of the cheating scandal. Although many were hopeful that David wouldn't be one of the people on the Married at First Sight Season 18 cast who were involved in the cheating scandal, by the time it finally came to light, it wasn't surprising that he was. David's behavior was suspicious from early on in the season when he began disappearing on Michelle and lying about his whereabouts. David's behavior continued to be sketchy, but it wasn't clear if he was just uninterested in his MAFS wife because of her lack of interest in him, or if he was genuinely hiding something from MAFS viewers. David's relationship with Madison Myers apparently began during the honeymoon phase of the season, when the pair would meet up to talk about their relationships. Though they both claimed that they were simply workout buddies at first, David was complaining about his marriage to Michelle while Madison was complaining about her husband, Alan Slovic, despite his genuine attempts to connect with her. David and Madison's relationship moved forward when they got back to Chicago, despite the fact that they were both apparently working to make their expertly matched relationships work, as well. The pair admitted to infidelity in a recent episode. David's played the good guy throughout the season. Although David had been cheating on Michelle in one way or another throughout the season, he was trying to put on the act of being a good guy from the very beginning. While Michelle, who seemingly became a villain for Married at First Sight viewers within the first episodes of the season, had her issues with David, it was clear that she was at least hopeful they could try to make things work. At the very least, Michelle seemed like she might want to become friends with David in spite of the fact that he still lived with his parents. Michelle's problems with David were clear from the start. She took issue with his living situation, struggled to understand his finances, and had trouble with the image he projected overall. Michelle's issues, however, were really minimal in comparison to the fact that David was cheating on her and trying to project himself as a good guy on screen. Consistently trying to make Michelle look bad for taking issue with his life and living situation overall, David often tried to play things off like he couldn't possibly understand where Michelle was coming from, even talking directly to the cameras in moments. David's lies about Madison came too naturally. While Michelle is trying to figure out why things felt off between her and her Married at First Sight husband, David was lying to her about Madison in a degree that I can only describe as shocking. From staying out until the wee hours of the morning without any explanation, disappearing on his MFS wife with the excuse of having tacos by himself, David has been spinning stories throughout the season to make himself look like he's innocent when he's now admitted that he's anything but. David's behavior has been difficult to watch, and unspooling his lies has been overwhelming. While David's lies were at least a little outlandish in the beginning, they quickly became somewhat more ridiculous as things progressed in his relationship with Madison while stalling out entirely with Michelle. Though Michelle seemed to know that their marriage wasn't going to go anywhere in the same way Madison did, it was clear that the couple had very different ideas of how to handle their MAFS relationship. David's continuous time spent with Madison and the scandal that ensued has made it tough to trust anything he said during his time on the show, especially when it comes to Madison. David's behavior makes him an automatic MS villain. Although David's behavior has been aligned with the affair he's been hiding, the fact that it's now all come to light doesn't pardon him from taking accountability. David's been a Married at First Sight villain throughout the show's run, but he hasn't taken any accountability for his actions throughout the last few episodes of the series since he's been found out. While he's spent the majority of the season wrapped up in a lie, admitting that hasn't seemed to make him any less villainous on the series. Instead, MAFS's David and Madison have both gone on the defensive so far. While David appears to have some remorse for hiding the truth for so long, the conversation he had with Alan about the affair in a recent MAFS episode painted him in a terrible light. After coming for Alan, trying to push him into being apologetic about an affair he wasn't part of, and making it clear that he didn't feel bad for stepping on Alan's toes, David came off even worse in the most recent MAFS episode. Rather than being apologetic, married at first sight villain David tried to absolve himself of guilt and doubled down on his devious actions.